In February of 2022, the Ontario Human Rights Commission released its Right to Read report. Recommendations from the report include fundamental changes to the way reading is taught in Ontario schools. Research shows that with science-based, systematic, and explicit instruction, nearly all students will become confident readers. Ontario, though, has fallen short of that mark. LD at School met with the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board to learn how their work on improving reading aligns with the recommendations. This video tells the story of their journey. Though all journeys are unique and the work continues, this is an opportunity to learn from others as school boards across Ontario work through similar issues. The Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board identified that achievement in reading had not improved over a number of years. Data from EQAO and other reading assessments confirmed this. Some schools in the district had already begun exploring evidence-based early literacy instruction with good results. The work of these educators and administrators helped to set the stage for the current work of the board. The senior team decided to focus on early literacy, a clearly identified goal within the board's strategic plan. Systematic changes helped to support this focus on early literacy work, including redirecting some human resources. This intentional leadership approach helped direct everyone's efforts toward a shared outcome. The board started their journey by building a deeper understanding of the science and research behind effective literacy instruction. This research helped to identify changes to be made. One tool that helped the board ground their work was Dr. Hollis Scarborough's explanation of the reading rope. The language comprehension and word recognition skills needed to become a fluent reader are represented by individual threads. When these threads are combined, the fluent execution and coordination of all these skills form a rope, representing a skilled reader. While recognizing that all threads need to be taught concurrently in classrooms, the board chose to specifically focus on learning about the foundational reading skills of phonics and phonological awareness, or word recognition. This finely focused goal would act as a foundational block to build on in the future. And the research allowed the board to make an informed decision on what teaching and assessment tools they could use. The board knew it was crucial that assessments clearly show a student's reading strengths and needs, and that educators have the proper tools to quickly and effectively address gaps in learning. Based on the research work of the early literacy team and the defined goal, they created a continuum that listed foundational word recognition skills for each year group to focus on. These skills are intended to build on each other as the students progress through the grades. Though developed in-house, the continuum was explicitly informed by the work of literacy experts such as Wiley Blevins, David Kilpatrick, and Louisa Moats. As a living document, it will continue to be refined as educators' instructional knowledge and skills develop, deepen, and move beyond the current focus on word recognition. This is a reciprocal learning model. As their educators' understanding deepens, so does their influence on system-level tools. A variety of approaches were used to distribute and share their learning with other educators, but the board found the most effective method of building professional capacity and sustainable practices remained job-embedded professional development through co-teaching and co-learning. A coaching model was implemented to support classroom teachers eager to learn more about evidence-based reading instruction. When schools and educators expressed interest in improving early literacy instruction, the board provided learning partners to support their professional learning in the classroom. This was a change from the top-down approach to system support and professional development that had existed previously. Before making any instructional changes, educators needed to understand the student's current progress. The board developed and selected a variety of assessment tools to identify and address each skill on their continuum. These tools provide quick and evidence-based ways to identify students who are at risk of or who currently have word reading difficulties, so they could be provided with additional instruction or immediate intervention. The data also help determine next steps for whole class Tier 1 instruction. This assessment data provided a starting point for dialogue between schools and the board's central team. It also established a context for educators to reflect on their current instructional practices and understanding, so they too could identify next steps for their own professional learning. This had a profound impact on educator efficacy, enabling them to identify the direct impact of their instruction on student proficiency. Educators were motivated and inspired by their ability to effectively and quickly close reading gaps for students. The central team also benefited from reciprocal learning through refining tools, adjusting expectations, and providing support based on discussions with teachers. It was an all-around win-win situation. At the end of the learning cycle, classroom educators collaborated with learning partners to develop a commitment to action, setting personal goals to further apply their learning and implementation of evidence-based reading instruction. These goals were then shared with the school principal for continued support. As the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board continues to work on administering a frequent cycle of assessment, they are increasing current data available at the classroom, school, and system level. This ensures there is a clear focus on effective reading instruction in all early literacy classrooms, and that schools and the school board have the ability to better determine what resources are necessary and what professional learning is required. Having good data to make decisions about the allocation of teaching resources also allows for the most efficient use of funds. The Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board story illustrates how the effective use of science-based literacy instruction and assessment tools benefits everyone in the system, including the students. Using this approach, starting in the classroom is a priority rather than relying on traditional models of professional development. It allows educators to see the value of exploring and adopting science-based practices. By taking time to deeply understand the science, the board, educators, and administrators can make effective and informed decisions that will actually have an impact on students' reading ability. And by choosing appropriate assessments and screeners, educators will clearly see needs and link them to appropriate resources and next steps. Ontario's school boards and educators are now working to implement the recommendations of the Right to Read report. A transition to evidence-based instruction and better understanding of reading science will take time and work, but the benefits for Ontario students, especially those with reading issues or learning disabilities, will be life-changing. LD at School looks forward to learning more about how our educators are building strong and confident readers across Ontario.